and Associate Provost for Diversity and Inclusion. It is my honor to welcome you to this special ceremony this morning, a gathering for a twofold purpose. First, to honor RIT's first Culture Club, and to also present the RIT Flag Project to the RIT community. In 2019, the Division of Diversity and Inclusion decided to honor the Black Awareness Coordinating Committee, better known to us as BACC. It was RIT's first Culture Club, and we decided to present them with a Beacon Award in recognition of their 50th celebration year here at RIT. BACC first formed in October 1968 and was officially recognized as a student club the following year. The founding members included Laura Delaney, Herb Eschelberger, Kenneth Everett, Thomas Gray, Eddie Hill, James Manning, Osteen Truitt, Alvina Walker, Gil Wisnout, Walter Whitney, and John Wilson. The question for us was how to appropriately honor BACC, an organization built on a rich history of achievement, pride, and unity. I remembered a bust of Frederick Douglass, at one time set in the Student Alumni Union as part of a BACC display. My recollection of the bust led to the acknowledgement of the work of Olivia Kim, adjunct professor in the College of Art and Design at RIT, who teaches figure sculpture and who in 2018 made 13 bicentennial Frederick Douglass sculptures for the not-for-profit Rochester Community Television in less than 7 months, with the help of 150+ volunteers, including many RIT community members. My recommendation, honor BACC with a Frederick Douglass sculpture made by Olivia Kim to be placed in a prominent location here at RIT. The idea was presented at that time to President Monson, who immediately embraced the idea, directing me to then meet with Senior Vice President for Finance and Administration, Dr. James Waters, who oversees the Campus Aesthetics Committee. These conversations of 2018 and to 2019 have led us to this ceremony today. Now, when BACC was founded, there were few students at RIT who identified as Black, Indigenous, people of color. BACC worked to increase representation on campus, build a strong voice for the African American student, and educate the RIT community about Black culture. According to its founders, it was not easy, but within the first year, RIT formed a committee to recruit more Black students and agreed to offer Black history courses. BACC was also the first organization to honor the great civil rights leader, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And that effort continues today with our annual Expressions of King's Legacy programming. Today, the fundamental purpose of BACC is to improve the overall image, mindset, and college experience of the Black student at RIT. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you RIT President, Dr. David Monson.
Well, thank you very much, Keith. This is a very special day for RIT. Frederick Douglass's relationship with the Rochester Athenaeum, and thus RIT, dates to the 1850s, when he delivered a series of powerful anti-slavery speeches in Corinthian Hall. Built and managed by members of the Athenaeum, Corinthian Hall was a jewel of early Rochester. Located behind the Reynolds Arcade near the corner of State and Main Street, Corinthian Hall welcomed some of the greatest figures of the Civil War era, including Susan B. Anthony, Charles Dickens, and Abraham Lincoln. But Frederick Douglass made Corinthian Hall synonymous with the struggle for racial justice. In his most famous speech, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July," that was given from the stage of Corinthian Hall in the summer of 1852. Though early Rochester was known for supporting many reform causes, Douglass challenged his fellow residents to redouble their efforts to end slavery and racial injustice in America. Frederick Douglass's relationship with RIT is also linked through his own granddaughter. Frederica Douglass Sprague Perry took classes at the Rochester Athenaeum and the Mechanics Institute in 1906. In acknowledgement that audiences well beyond Rochester returned to Douglass's words as an eternal touchstone of righteous indignation and also hope for a better world, and BACC's commitment to improve the overall image, mindset, and college experience for Black students at RIT, we dedicate this Frederick Douglass sculpture at RIT this second day of October 2020 in honor of both BACC and the 200th birthday of the great orator and abolitionist. To accept this honor is BACC President Jamisha Pierre-Louis. So Jamisha and Keith, if you could join us at the front of the room here, I'd appreciate it. Jamisha, go ahead. And Jamisha, I invite you to the podium to make some remarks.
Thank you. Greetings, RIT students, staff, and alumni. I am very excited and honored to be here speaking on behalf of the Black Awareness Coordinating Committee as serving president. This is a momentous occasion in which we have gathered to commemorate Frederick Douglass's 200th birthday and BACC's 50th anniversary, both which have great history here in the Rochester community. During these trying times in our Black community, it is important that we take time to look back at our history in order to not repeat the same mistakes. In fact, as a community, we want to use our people's history as a stepping stone to allow us to go into the future with more knowledge, understanding, and hope. The hope that things will get better. The Black Awareness Coordinating Committee, as the first cultural club at RIT, educates and promotes upliftment and unification of the Black community at RIT and has plans to continue this mission for the future. Today, the unveiling of Frederick Douglass statue marks the beginning of the new future for Black students here at RIT, a future that recognizes them as critical for the success at RIT and the Rochester community. Furthermore, the statue will serve to expose and educate RIT students about Frederick Douglass, a famous orator that served as an abolitionist in our city. Throughout the Black Lives Matter movement, we are able to see Douglass's legacy has set an example for how activism is carried out today. After reading Douglass's autobiography and speeches, there are 3 characteristics that I believe that we need to adopt in this time of struggle: his resilience, his voice, and his strength through adversity. I am blessed to be here and to celebrate this unveiling of the statue on behalf of the Black Awareness Coordinating Committee. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jamisha. We appreciate your being here and accepting this statue on behalf of your organization. As Keith shared earlier, the statue was created by Olivia Kim, adjunct professor in the College of Art and Design at RIT. Olivia's family immigrated from the Philippines to Rochester, New York when she was 4 years old. She attended the School of the Arts in both middle school and high school, where she experienced vocal music, musical theater, modern and Afro-Caribbean dance, printmaking, and sculpture in ceramics and wood. Olivia holds both divisional honors in ceramics sculpture with her BFA cum laude at at New York State College of Ceramics at Alfred University, and also additional study in realist drawing, printmaking, sculpture techniques at the Florence Academy of Art in Italy. We are pleased that Olivia has elected to return to Rochester. She did that in 2010, and specifically that she has become affiliated with RIT. To share a bit more with you about the Frederick Douglass sculpture, I welcome Olivia to the podium to share some remarks with us today.
Before I begin, I would like to thank some of the very key people in making this project. Over there to the side, I would like to gesture towards some of the volunteers who helped from our RIT community. Bill Wincoop of the Packaging Science Department, who is a previous professor at RIT, and especially our Grand Studio Head Assistant, Princess Tumushabe, of the Medical Illustration Department. Standing to her right, there's Jamie Wong, who's also a medical illustration undergrad student, and she took my 3D design program sculpting the figure. So thank you, Jamie. And then lastly, but not least, there is Marion Romig, who has taken part in making almost all of the 13 sculptures. And next to Marion, there is our grand master and friend, Carvin Eisen, the project director of the Bicentennial Frederick Douglass Sculpture Project. He was also in charge of the Bicentennial Frederick Douglass events, citywide and countywide. So please thank Professor Carvin Eisen of SUNY Brockport. My dear friends, colleagues, friends that we don't know yet, and family. In 2018, I was commissioned to make the Frederick Douglass Bicentennial Sculpture Project for the not-for-profit Rochester Community Television. It is a wonderful example of love, unity, and cooperation expressed through art. Over 100 volunteers helped me make 13 statues in only 6.5 months. People from all walks of life came to help. Volunteers of diverse cultural, ethnic, and economic backgrounds, age groups, body types, professions, genders, sexual and non-binary orientations, veterans, blind, deaf, and hard of hearing, religious and political leanings showed up at my studio door. The majority had little to no experience in making art. Using my research of how the mind, emotions, and body function, and decades of experience in figurative art, I taught them how to make sculpture on the spot. Of our own free will, politicians, administrators, financial backers, volunteers, the public, and myself have put our hearts, minds, and hands together to make these sculptures. Our love, unity, and cooperation made us into one harmonious body, each one of us serving the greater whole. For example, whenever we needed a tool or skill set, within minutes, someone would walk through the door having exactly what was called for every time. Yeah. Yep. Yes. We lovingly called this the Freddie Miracle. Freddie is the nickname we used for our dear inspiring friend and esteemed hero. Even though this project has suffered 2 vandalisms, we did not allow the pain to tear us apart. We have stayed true to love, unity, and cooperation, which cannot be touched. We stayed grounded and focused on the love that we've put into these sculptures and our community. As creative people, we took chaotic situations and made something new and wonderful from them, like flowers that bloom with the morning light. Through art and science within the realm of body language, I've made a sculpture that expresses how Douglass's many struggles forged a profound love for humanity. He exemplifies our indelible unity and our ability to find truth within ourselves. His presence here is a reminder that our humanity is the true heart of all technology. As we develop technology, we must vigilantly make sure that it is kept in symbiotic harmony with all life. We must remember that nothing can replace our individual and group effort and good old-fashioned hard work. Sitting back while someone or something else does the hard work for us would be the repetition of over a millennia of mistakes. Why do you think we are gathered here today? This is very important to remember. Our evolution is dependent upon holistic creativity. The complete restructuring and flourishing of the arts is a necessary part of finding balance within ourselves and with the local and planetary community. Art gives us the opportunity to learn about ourselves and each other. And the arts help us to explore and give voice to our inner lives and help us to sort out and recreate our psyche, emotions, and bodies. Art played a very important role in Douglass's life. His artful use of language expressed the depths of his being and showed you that you cannot enslave a person against their will. Do you know that Douglass escaped slavery by wearing a sailor's costume that Anna Murray made for him? Through the art of costume, Douglass escaped slavery, married his beloved Anna, and helped to end institutional slavery in America. We have created something very special in Rochester, New York. This public art project serves an example of how much we accomplish when we choose to work together. We are all living on this planet together. We are physiologically hardwired to fear anything new as an instinctual form of protection for our bodies. That is why it is impossible to always be politically correct and to behave as expected. So please take the time to work things out and also to respect different forms of opinion and ways of doing things. As an artist and observer of life, I have learned that the greater balance is constantly refound between opposite forces by finding new equilibrium every moment of our lives. It is up to us to find ways to get along, as we are all indelibly connected to one another. I believe that Frederick and Anna Murray Douglass and all the abolitionists of the world would be proud. Much love to you. Thank you.
First of all, say thank you to Professor Kim for your remarks and for this wonderful work that you have done on behalf of Rochester Institute of Technology. We continue to the second purpose of our gathering this morning. On Friday, June 5th, 2020, RIT President David Monson, during a Calls for Justice at RIT Interfaith Vigil in response to the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, announced that 4 flags representing cultural and historical significance to RIT would be permanently mounted in the Student Alumni Union. The flags include the Haudenosaunee Flag, the Black Lives Matter flag, the Rainbow or Pride flag, and the Sign Union flag. To share more with you about the RIT Flag Project is Dr. Sandra Johnson, Senior Vice President for Student Affairs.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. I am honored and humbled to be a part of this special milestone at RIT. RIT has used flags to serve as a visual marker of our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Starting on April 14th, 1994, when the International Flags Project was initiated as part of the One World, One People conference sponsored by RIT's student government. The purpose of the project was to serve as a visual welcome to the international student population and to reinforce RIT's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The flags are changed each year to represent the country of each international student. The location of the flags in the Student Alumni Union was intentional because of its central location and how it represents the heart of the campus community. The International Flag Project was followed in 2012 with the installation of the Rainbow Flag, again, to serve as a visual reminder of our commitment to support and develop a welcoming and inclusive community. Today, we continue with our tradition with the addition of the Haudenosaunee Flag, the Black Lives Matter flag, and the Sign Union flag. We are at a pivotal time in history, here at RIT, in Rochester, the country, and the world. Our mission calls out our responsibility to create a culture where diversity, equity, and inclusion is woven into all that we do. That means we must actively work to remove systemic barriers in our programs, processes, and policies. Today, I would ask you to listen carefully to the meaning of these flags and to our community to reflect on the role each of us can and must play in making RIT a more welcoming place for all. Before I turn this over to Dr. Jenkins, I want to point out that the display behind me is temporary, as our permanent flags will be much larger and will be installed in the next few weeks. I'd now like to turn this over to Dr. Jenkins to share with you the meaning behind the Haudenosaunee flag and the Black Lives Matter flag. Dr. Jenkins.
RIT acknowledges that the land on which the university sits is the traditional territory of the Onondaga, or the people of the Great Hill. In English, they are known as the Seneca people, the keeper of the Western Door. The Haudenosaunee flag, based on the Hiawatha Wampum Belt, is a symbol of peace and unity. Today, it represents the 6 Iroquois nations: Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and Tuscarora. To honor this occasion, Jordan Davis, Afro-Indigenous Cherokee, and president of the Native American Student Association, better known as NASA, chose a quote from the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address. The quote reads, "Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now, our minds are one." RIT unequivocally believes that Black lives matter. We are deeply saddened, troubled, and anguished by systemic and routine patterns of racism, police brutality, and anti-Black resistance. Our journey remains forever onward. Daniel Prude, Sandra Bland, George Floyd, Laquan McDonald, Breonna Taylor, Tony McDade, Pamela Turner, Eric Garner, along with countless other Black bodies that have perished at the hands of police brutality, we say their names. Black Lives Matter commenced in 2013. The original flag design was done by Design Action Collective, but redesigned some years later to this current one. To honor this occasion, Pat Luther King Jr. The quote reads, "The time is always right to do what is right." Of this quote Patrick shares, it's quite simple but powerful, especially in the duration of time it took for the flag to be flown. It may not have been at the time many of us wanted it, but it still symbolizes strength and solidarity with our Black students, and I will add also Black staff and faculty, something many of us need and are looking for from RIT. So at this time, I invite Dr. Johnson back to share remarks for the rainbow or pride flag and the sign Union flag.
RIT raises the rainbow or pride flag to affirm past, present, and future gender and sexual minorities at RIT, as well as the allies who support them. This flag was designed in 1978 by Gilbert Baker as a symbol of unity for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and all those who are a part of the LGBTQIA community. To underscore the importance of the rainbow or pride flag to the RIT community, I would like to share some thoughts from Emmy Simpson, the president of Outspoken. Emmy shared this with me. The rainbow flag stands for many different things to many different people. Unity, pride, community, but perhaps the most important value it symbolizes is safety. There is a feeling of immense relief when you see a pride flag hanging above a door or pinned to someone's jacket. It means you will be safe here, respected here. It says, I see that you have been through so much, but it's okay. You can rest now. I think this is the most important thing RIT can offer our LGBTQIA students. A promise that wherever you're coming from, wherever you've been, we will look out for you. RIT people of the hands, our deaf, hard of hearing, and the whole sign community. With sign language, we are, we can, and we will. This flag was designed by Arnaud Ballard for deaf people everywhere and approved by the Deaf French National Federation in May of 2014. To honor this occasion, Truc Nguyen, the 2020 undergraduate delegate from NTID, shares her thoughts about the importance of the sign union flag. Truc said this: "Together, we deaf people stand up and fight for persevering sign language in the world, no matter when, yesterday, today, or tomorrow. We cherish, support, and value the sign union flag and sign language for all from the bottom of our heart." I would now like to turn to President Munson for closing remarks. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sandy and Keith, and all of our presenters today. We really appreciate your participation. What we've done today is symbolic, but the symbols are important. We want for RIT to be a place that is completely inclusive. We want for every member of our community to be able to thrive and succeed at the maximum level of their capability. The Frederick Douglass sculpture is beautiful. When we get the real flags, they're going to be beautiful too. But some of you may ask about action. These are symbols. What about action? We have a lot already underway. As many of you know, we have an absolutely top-notch division of diversity and inclusion headed up by Keith Jenkins. We have many activities throughout the university, but we know that what we have is not yet quite enough. So there is an enormous planning process taking place right now. A lot of it's behind the scenes. It's the university administration, the Board of Trustees, NTID, and other divisions and units within the university. All of our governance groups, the Academic Senate, Staff Council, and student government. Soon, you'll be seeing an announcement of that will describe our overall planning process and the timetable. There are a number of ideas we have where we won't wait for that planning process to be completed. Things will be rolled out. But I promise you will see probably more action than ever before at RIT in the areas of anti-racism and social justice. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Go Tigers.